start right out. Hey, what happened?
Yeah, there we go. Huh? We're home. Home free. Welcome. My name is Dean. Busy day today. But before we get started, please welcome the other host of this program, Mr. Lachlan Cross, 95.7 Cruise FM in Edmonton. The host of the Locker Room joins us.
Saying that my lighting sucks. I'm trying to figure that out. Do I look better today?
You look like a guy that really cares about how he looks.
I don't give a shit.
I know. Well, why do you care? Why do you care?
Because somebody pointed it out, so I thought I would show interest, which makes me seem a little more human. And I try to adjust it. I try to keep the lights dim so that you guys can't tell how yellow my teeth are.
We can see. You look great. Let's Lachlan Cross, 95.7 Cruise FM at Edmonton. He's also at Lachlan Cross on Twitter. And my fella James DiFiore joins us from what appears to be outside the schoolhouse prison. You all right there? You all right? You gonna be okay? You gonna make it?
Can you hear me? Please tell me you can hear me.
Can you hear me? I can hear you great. Okay. Yeah, I hear you fantastic.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. So I don't know. You know how they say that you should do the thing when you're doing a ruse, it should be believable. Yeah. So I've created a psychiatrist appointment for me, a fictional one, so I could be on the podcast. So
you told your boss that you've got a psychiatry appointment so you could do the podcast with Jon Kay, who's coming up any minute. Is that correct?
That's correct.
Lied. Yes. That's like what kids do. I fucking love it. That's like a power move in your 40s.
Can I just remind you
making up a psychiatry appointment because you have to like
people can watch
you can't make up like a. That's okay. He doesn't care. He's in Killaloo.
Can't you tell that I need a psychiatry appointment?
Like Killaloo. It looks more like you're going to be bringing in planes too. Like,
you know what I like though too is you went with psychiatry appointment as opposed to like I have a microdermabrasion appointment. You went. Listen, I have a psychiatric appointment I can't miss. And they're like, fuck, we can't mess with that. Of course you got to go. Of course you got to
They're
leave,
like, we know, James.
Yeah.
Yes, you cannot miss that for sure.
We know you're fucked in the head. Yeah.
Hey, by the way, can we bring up something quickly before I forget, Dean?
Yeah.
And I just thought of this because we were supposed to, we didn't do a show yesterday. When you brought up the dentist thing, it reminded me that we have that Twitter poll that we have to get the final results out for. The one about whether or not we
interview politicians
totally
ever again. The
super scientific,
scientific poll. 80% said no more politicians. 20% said they didn't care. So to me, that's 100% that said no. So that's good.
Yeah,
I like that. Yeah. No more politicians. But I want to bring in one more guy, Brenton on tour. My man Brent, who I met for the first time, worked with him for like 2-3 years. Met for the first time today. He shows up from Minneapolis. He's a tour manager. He's been on tour with some of your favorite bands, Locke. But welcome to Brent, who's literally 5 feet away from me, but we can't be on the same microphone. So say hi to Brent, you two.
Hi, Brent, you too.
The Megadeth show in Toronto got canceled, eh? We were all going to go out to it.
Yeah. Canada A, all got canceled. So yeah,
that sucks.
Just the way it goes. But hey,
that'll be rescheduled, right?
I'm here. Rescheduled, I think, next spring. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, cool. We'll keep an eye on that.
Yeah. Anyways, hi guys. Good to see you.
Hi. Nice to see you.
How you doing, Brent?
You were on tour. Where is this? This is Knotfest.
That was Knotfest in Iowa the other day, and we played. Well, that was not my show, but I was along for the ride. I had a bit of a break, so I was like, "Well, I'll just tag along with the tour." And that was during, I think, Trivium Set, who was opening, who's the second band on the tour we were just on, which was Megadeth, Lamb of God, Trivium, and Hatebreed. So metal up your ass, and we played our whole tour basically played the second stage of Knotfest, and there, my friends, is 30,000 people from Iowa hanging out, for a little gathering, if you will.
Odd that Iowa would be into metal.
And this was, and that next picture was last night.
That was supposed to be funny.
That was Minneapolis. Well, that's where Slipknot's from, so yes, they are. But that's last night in Minneapolis, and you can see everyone's in a nice little church gathering there, hanging out. So and problems down in America. Here we are. Anyways.
No, they don't have COVID down there.
No COVID, and I'm negative, and they jammed it into my brain. So Dean let me into his house, and I think I might be the first person in his house in 2 years. So there we go.
Yeah, you are. Yeah. Yeah, it's weird being here. He showed up. I haven't met Greg, so that's fucking cool. He's a tour manager, so that's kind of what he does. He was on tour with Slipknot, Megadeth. Megadeth was supposed to come here. We were supposed to have a team building thing. Couldn't come here. Couldn't do it. But it was weird because I hadn't met Brent. We've worked together for like 2-3 years, and he just shows up, and I feel like I've seen the guy. Like I feel like we've hung out our whole lives. I think because we talk so much. But that's kind of the advent of what this is, right? Like the ability to be able to hook up with people and talk. Like everything's fucking changed, which is incredible, and I'm thankful for it. So. Busy day today. Thanks for coming on the show. Ryan Lindley's going to stop by in a few minutes. We're going to talk to him and Bondzee about doing the Dean Jr. show. Not sure if you guys are paying attention to how Bondzee's doing his podcast, but they're effectively ours, but like a week later. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you wouldn't believe it. Bondzee basically just kind of carbon copies what we do and then steals all the guests and does it like 2-3 days later. So we're going to talk to him about that.
All right. It's not a horrible idea. I mean,
no, it's not.
You do all the legwork, and then he just goes, "Hey, that looked good. That seemed to work. Those guys are entertaining."
Jimmy Kimmel did it, right? Jimmy Kimmel did it to Letterman. He just carbon copied his show.
Yeah, he still does it. Yeah, and you know what? Every radio guy in the country still does it to me, and now they do it to you, Locke. So it's like flattery is the highest form of compliment, right? Like I'm a big fan of what he's doing, which is our show, but like 4 days later.
What's it like to have to do things that anyone can do, guys? Just wondering.
Thanks, Dad. Hey, I got it. I'll be really quick, Dean, but you'll like this. So we had a staff meeting today, and the boss brought up this program that he has, and I'm like, it's stupid because if you want to listen to something, just go on the fucking line. But anyway, we have this program, I guess, through one of these services that we subscribe to in radio. And you can log on to different radio stations and listen. And he's like, just in case you want to see what other people are doing and maybe, try something out that they're doing, which I am morally against. I don't listen to anybody else because I don't want anybody in my ear or in my head, right? And then I let sort of a beat go by, and I went, people are gonna start stealing our fucking sound of the day fucking contest. No one laughed. This is a really good idea. I think people are going to start stealing because they all hate it. They hate it.
How can they hate that contest? Well, that's because they don't understand how fucking funny it is, right? Like they're still operating in and this is the problem with people is that you work with other people, especially in traditional media. All of them are going, listen, if Lachlan is doing this contest with no prizes and no money and no support, and it's the biggest contest in the city, what the fuck are we doing here? Like, how do we justify to our employers that we actually deserve these jobs? Locke's doing our job and his job, and he's carrying the radio station. So, I think it's the best.
I don't know how they don't get the show because they're in radio in 2021, so they already understand irony, right? A little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, James, you're on fire today. You should do the show from a roof more often.
Yeah, because I'll jump off it by the time the fucking show's over. Right.
The other problem is that the other radio station in our building is doing a sound of the day contest. So about 10 minutes after they do it, we go live with ours. And we got a fridge sound effect right now that's about 60 seconds long. And we're giving away fucking a bunch of books James doesn't want anymore.
I saw James has a bunch of motivational books about how to become rich really fast. It's like he gave away all those books that you bought at 2 a.m. when you were super miserable about your life. Yeah. That's awesome. That's incredible.
Rich Dad, Poor Dad, that kind of stuff.
He keeps trying to make the joke about maybe you should take the Winning Friends and Influencing People book, and I'm like, don't need it, and then it just dies.
Anyway, it's weird because I listened to you this morning on the radio, and I heard you talking about Chris Sky way out there, and I'm like, talking about Chris Sky out in Alberta. and he's making news here. A couple things. One of them is he tweeted this out today, which we knew. He is vaccinated. He says, "Of course I got vaxxed. I'm traveling all over the country in huge crowds, you idiot.
I'm so confused.
You idiot." So you talked about a vaccinated guy that tells people not to get vaccinated. How did it go?
Jesus. Well, we talked about the fact that he is hinting at an insurrection.
Yeah.
Right?
Want me to play the video? I've got it here. So
Yeah.
this is, well, listen.
This is what, and
we'll play the video. This is your boy, Chris Sky, talking about how the cops have contacted him, and it's on, baby. It's on.
The police are behind him.
Oh, yeah. And I've talked to all the police unions today already, so I've got some stuff to share with you after this. But this is your boy, Chris Sky, telling everybody. And by the way, I loved his calm voice. This was like his, I better be calm to tell people that I'm serious, because this is very serious. But watch this video. This guy, the prosciutto's off the cracker, everybody.
Guys, this is it. This is the one. October 16th. I'm doing something very special. I don't want to give away the details. All I'm going to let you know is it was planned by the police, and they contacted me, and they need your help to help them and to help this country. I need every organizer from everywhere in Ontario to contact me as soon as possible to help me with this. This is the most important event any of us have ever been a part of.
Ooh!
This is he's planning an insurrection.
No, he's not.
Yeah, he is.
He's not.
Yes, it is.
That's his
October
organizational
16th.
mastery right there. No. Do you know what he's doing? Now, this is what he's doing. I'll explain it to you. That dumb fuck, and he is a dumb fuck. That dumb fuck is telling people October 16th, there's something fucking major. And he wants it to sound and look like an insurrection, but you can't have an insurrection with nobody, right? And I know you get a couple hundred people that come out to see this bag of shit, talk about his stuff and tell people not to comply and just to spit in the face of authority. Anybody that tells you otherwise can fuck off, all that other stuff. It doesn't work, by the way. And you just spend the rest of your life in jail over and over and over and over again and chasing your tail and being miserable and never getting a job. But whatever, fuck, I don't care. You do what you got to do. And I'm enjoying watching you people like murderate your entire life and all your future and your prospects. I think it's hilarious. But this is what October 16th is, because I've looked into it. TPS said they have no idea what he's talking about. Hamilton Police, no idea. York Region, no idea. Every OPP, no idea. And will fire anybody that goes to anything to do with him. That's just what they told me. But
Maybe
that's
he
whatever.
meant the band. Maybe he meant the band. No?
Getting the band back together.
Yeah.
No, but here's
That'd
the
be
big
epic.
part.
That'd be amazing.
Yeah, guys, Sting and Stuart Copeland will be there and everything.
What?
But the funny part of that whole thing is he's doing it because he's dead balls broke, and he's trying to create like some mystery around something, because he just ordered tens of thousands of shirts.
Is that what
To
this
sell.
is?
In a bag.
That's exactly what this is.
No.
Yes. And here's the fucked
He's
up
gonna
part.
get killed.
Every single
He's
one
gonna
of you.
kill him.
Yeah, who cares? I don't
Like
care.
an anti-vaxxer, though. Like
It's not
an
my deal.
anti-vax- a bunch of them will just beat the
Yeah.
shit out of him, I think.
So now he's just alienated everybody, even though he's begging for all the organizers to come and help him out, which kills me, because if you watch these protests, it's the last thing it is organized. But have a look. He is fully fucking vaccinated, dude. This guy has been screaming at people, getting arrested in the name of not getting vaccinated. And he's vaccinated. Wonder how his fucking followers feel this morning.
He's done more
Like
damage to this country than others. I don't know. It's unbelievable to me.
That was part
I
of
don't
the
think he has.
conversation we were having this morning, Brent, in that because mainstream media has he's on our radar because we're sort of on the fringe outside looking in, and we're not we're not afraid of bringing somebody like him on and having a conversation with him because he's not a politician. Like what I did there. And the funny thing about his sense of what it is that he's accomplishing is I don't think many people, I think a very, very small percentage of the Canadian population even knows who the fuck he is.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
However,
I think young people.
I have to make a point, James, for 1 second, because you guys know my fight that I had. I was pushing on to get Tamara Jansen ousted from our area, and she lost. But check this out. He's not PPC, right? He's anti-PPC, but PPC is a byproduct of all the shit he's been spewing. She lost by 1,500 votes in our riding. 1,500 votes went to the PPC in our riding. She lost by the amount of votes that this party has created out of Chris Sky's kind of group of fucking minions. And so it's doing a little bit of like it's pulled some of those conservative votes out into this fucking psycho party. And James, what I was saying about like the damage he's doing is like it's creating this kind of mini uprising, but it's costing votes. I mean, it cost Tamara her gig. She lost by 1,500 votes, and they all went to PPC. And now he's on a fight against the PPC. Now he's telling everybody not to get vaxxed. I mean, you want to talk about politicians being confusing. Where the fuck is he now? Where's his stance now? I don't understand. Like,
I don't think his notoriety is at all what he thinks it is, and I don't think he has any impact at all.
None.
None. I think he has his followers, and a couple of people stumbled into his world based on already being sort of hyper focused on that activated. Yeah, that's great. Great way of, but I don't think the general public has any fucking clue who he is. Like my wife has no idea. No idea who he is.
Lachlan, you're 100% right. He's more hyped than anything else. Karima probably has a big, portion of credit for that. But the PPC party came before Chris Sky came. I think that there's also a lot of people who aren't conservatives that voted PPC. There's like left-leaning people that voted PPC, both because of the vaccine thing and because of free speech and things like that. I don't know. That number's probably not huge, but I wouldn't say that all 1,500 of those votes would have went to one party or the other. It probably would have been split up a bunch of ways. So, but Lachlan is right. I don't think that he has the impact that he thinks. Yeah, the way that social media frames a person like that, it always seems like, oh my God, 12,000 people have looked at this in the last hour. Yeah, but so what? 12,000 people looked at pornography in the last hour. 12,000 people looked at kittens. It's not relevant, I don't think. I think his hype is actually declining. And I think that a lot of people are going to start noticing that anti-vax people are going to start getting vaxxed. Now, that depends on whether or not these rallies turn into a riot, which is also very possible. So, I don't know.
And here's the thing is that I don't think it will. Like, I was kind of going through some of the tweets after he posted that fucking hilarious video, by the way. I pissed my pants laughing. I thought it was awesome. Guys, seriously, it's happening. We're going to do it. I can't tell you what it is, because in his mind, he's going, I have no idea what it is. I'm just trying to sell some shit because I'm here to do two things. Pass around misinformation and sell shit, and I'm all out of misinformation, so I got to sell shit. Because Ontario's out of the fucking pandemic, effectively. Like, we flattened the curve. It's still around, some stuff in schools. But, like, everything this guy says has been proven false. And then on top of it, like, fuck, to Brent's point and to your point, Locke, this is just on Twitter. Like, this isn't in real life. Like he is absolutely not the legend he thinks he is.
No,
he thinks he's got this fucking crazy clout to the point where he sent me this unbelievable email. Would you guys like me to read the email exchange I had with him over the past couple of days?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yes.
All right. Should we have some like email music, Chris? Can you get me a little light email music, please? That would be great. So we exchange emails.
Softcore porn music would be great.
Yeah, that'd be nice. That's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's nice.
Ding,
so September, he a couple days ago, I asked him if he's vaccinated. He sends me an email. Suck a dick with multiple STDs. I know you've made a living working from your knees, he says to me. And I go, you've officially lost your shit. Matter of time, brother. Wall's getting closer, huh? Ba-dum, ba-dum. You'll be in a padded cell with other happy tales. Call me when you finally get diagnosed and medicated. Cheers, fella. So then yesterday, because I only get emails from him when he's like super fucking angry or he's having like a major mental breakdown or an episode. I call them Chris Sky episodes. I've talked to him when he's had a few episodes. Sure thing, Dean. You keep sucking that cock like the soft, chubby little beta male bitch you are. Your handler's getting so fucking desperate and you being so insignificant and trying so hard to prove your worth. Ha ha ha. I have international support now. You're scared. They are even more scared. And you know what? That's the first smart reaction you've had. When they won't stop me, you definitely won't stop me. And when we win, we both know what'll happen to you. You failed miserably. This is a real human. This isn't AI. This isn't no punctuation, no nothing. He's just that fucked. Like that fucked. So I send back another email this morning because I'm like, this is fucking crazy. Dude, you have some serious mental health issues that probably require some kind of intervention. One with teeth. I like that. 99% of people are laughing at you because your whole effort is so low rent and you're actually just full of mentally unwell shit. The attention you get is full-on mockery. You can call it international attention, but regional joke is probably more appropriate, bud. I've got you in a padded cell by Christmas. No one wants to stop you. By the way, it's way too funny. Best of luck. That was my legitimate email exchange with Chris Guy. Like, that's what he thinks he is. He thinks he is an international agent, provocateur for human beings with a brain. Yeah. Like, he really thinks he's something, man. And he isn't. He's just he's a meme. He's a walkabout. He's just this little fucking, and he's like 5'1", 5'2", maybe. And on top of, just the sheer belligerence that he walks around with, he can't stop lying. Everything he says is shit. Everything he says is a lie. He lies to the people that work for him because he wants them to sell stuff because he's broke. His dad cut him off. His mom cut him off. Like, he is literally on the ledge. And to James's point, and I know this to be true because I know the guy. And to his point, and to James's point, it's not that I don't find him dangerous at all. I find him entertaining as fuck. Yeah. Like, watching him swirl around the toilet and seeing the mental capacity with which he operates continue to get more diminished and his cognitive abilities continue to get more impaired. It's like, okay, listen, if this is any other human being, I'd be like, hey, so we probably do an intervention. I'm like, no, fuck, no intervention. I want this guy's entire life to intervene for him. All the natural consequences, everything he's done. I love it. Yes, Brent, go ahead.
I do think it's dangerous. That's my story. I do think it's dangerous. I just spent a month in America, and I have had 3 or 4 doctors on the trip, Republican and Democrat, that I've spoken to, and I said, give me the goods. Tell me what's going on. And it's all the same stuff. Even the Republican doctor was like, the only one taking up our beds are unvaccinated. And that was on both sides of it. And this guy's been driving the narrative. He personally might not be dangerous, but 4 or 5 people that follow him can turn it into something. I was masked up walking around shows down there. Guys were grabbing my shoulder and saying, take that fucking mask off. You don't need it down here. We're all the fucking same. I'm like, no, I'm Canadian, you fucking redneck. So it was like really, really, really bad down there as far as like especially in like Indianapolis and Dallas, Texas, and some of these places where they're just up in my shit about it. And Chris personally himself might not be dangerous, but the narrative, I still think there's enough people that are rising up in a very aggressive way, and they're dangerous as a byproduct of following this shit. And I see it on Karima's feed, and there's a danger that's brewing, and I feel it. I'm sorry. I feel
Brent,
it from
I
traveling.
don't disagree with you. I was just putting him in his place in the overall hierarchy of this movement, or whatever you want to call it. I think, and I agree with what Dean was saying. The PPC, and James, the PPC was here, and that was a problem way before Chris Sky. He's just he's just got the tailwind of this. And we've been entertained by him and kind of propped him up a little bit on this side of things. Anybody that knows Chris Sky in my world watches this podcast, and that's why, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he has fame outside of that, and I don't think he himself by himself is dangerous, Brent. The movement, you're totally right. I think there's bigger issues there, and I'm not exactly sure where to even start on how it got to where we are and how we pull back a bit. The interesting thing about your comment, and I don't want to just shit all over your point here, Brent, but you're the guy today until Bondzee gets on. The 1,500 votes, I don't think they necessarily came at the expense of the Conservative Party. In this last election, the Conservatives won the popular vote. And I think there's just as much on both sides of the political spectrum.
All I know, Locke, is that she's gone. So that's
yeah,
all that
no,
matters.
that's a
all
good
that
thing.
matters.
But
I did see 1,500 PPC votes in our region. She lost by 1,500. So whether they're from Liberal or Conservative or NDP, 1,500 people still went to there, and I feel like she lost momentum somewhere.
I
in there,
think James is right. I think it's
She
going to be
lost.
too difficult to
Right.
figure out where these votes are coming from right now, based on how fucking splintered we are as a society, right?
Yeah. It's fun to watch, though, man. Just watch the whole landscape change. And someone who I know would want to weigh in on this joins us. He's the editor of Quillette Magazine. He joins us from time to time. Our friend and yours, Mr. Jon Kay, at Jon Kay on Twitter. Everybody, John, I just got to bring this up because he tweets this out today. I tweeted that he was coming on the show and what we were going to talk about. It's a promo, right? So John tweets this out, and I literally laughed in my brain. So I like big show, Jon Kay on Kevin Vuong, which we're going to talk about, Dean versus the Catholic school propaganda. Haven't gotten there yet. Emoji etiquette. We just talked about Chris Guy. So he tweets out a career highlight for me: fluffing the crowd for an impotent dude.
Is that Lachlan? Who's the impotent one?
Jon Kay, welcome. How are you, sir?
Yeah, that's the kind of stuff I do. It's
I like it.
Brilliant.
But I mean, that was in the tweet. You used the word impotent in the tweet, right? Like I wasn't.
Yeah.
You know, it wasn't like calling someone a cuck or anything like that. I was riffing off like your language.
Yeah,
So.
It's Chris Guy is vaccinated and impotent. Those were two tweets that came out today, and so that's why we said. And you're like, great, I'm on top of it with an impotent dude. It's just funny. I just think it's great that you played along, and I also think I would love your thoughts on him because we're kind of just talking. Listen, I think he's a joke. I think he's like a legend in his own mind, and I think the end is coming, and so I'm not really too worried about it. That's how he treated anyway. But like, do you pay any attention to this stuff? You're a very academic, very well-educated individual, or are you kind of the same mind as me? It's like, the fruit's going to die at some point. Whatever.
You mean on the anti-vax stuff?
Yeah, and him being the guy he is in the community. Yeah.
So look, I'm not going to comment on Chris Guy. I do think that even when I'm dealing with people who are super pro-vax, I mean, I'm very strongly pro-vaccination, and people who are anti-vax, I sometimes will just step back and try and say, look, we laugh about a lot of things in our life. Sometimes it helps if just everyone isn't so pious and sanctimonious. And I'm including my fellow pro-vaxxers. Like I know people who are pro-vax and you go to their social media profile, and I think I've mentioned this, it's like they have the mask on and like every tweet is about just how, you know, if there were a third vax available, they'd be, you know, line up at 4 a.m. for that. And I'm like, just relax a little bit. You're not convincing anybody. And also the anti-vaxxers, even like, if you're going to be anti-vax, I think you're wrong. But also, there's such an apocalyptic strain to it. And so, like, I don't know if this is going to catch on. But even within my own family, like, you know, these vaccine passports that we're all supposed to have soon. I created my own vaccine passport. And it has, like, a picture of me. And on the cover page, it says, like, you know, dynamic, middle-aged white male, eager to join your event or organization, you know, like I turned it into a sort of resume, and it gives my astrological sign and my turn-ons and turn-offs and stuff like that. And I printed it.
God, you're funny, John. Holy
well,
shit.
So my family doesn't think I'm funny, but I went I went to a restaurant with my family and I had it in my pocket, and they're like, "Oh God, he's gonna show his homemade vaccine passport to the maitre d', isn't he?
Are we related?
And the guy, and I was so disappointed. Actually, I was at Subway. Actually, this was by myself. And the woman said, "Oh, have you been vaccinated?" And I was like, "Yeah. You want to see?" And she's like, "No, that's okay." And I was like, "Oh, crap." So, but part of my social thing with vaccines is like just to take the temperature down a little bit. COVID is a very serious subject, but like you can laugh about these things, especially as we become more familiar with the protocols of COVID-19. Realize that the vaccines, they're not going to kill you. Your friends are taking them. Eventually, even skeptics are going to take them. But just like calm down. It's not the apocalypse, right? So that's my strategy.
It's a good strategy to have. And I want to talk to you about a few things today. We're going to talk a little bit more about that maybe towards the end of the conversation. But one of the things that's I've been enamored with your Twitter feed. By the way, if you don't follow Jon on Twitter, do it at Jon Kay. He's maybe one of the most acerbic, funniest follows on the planet. And we share a similar interest in the virtue signaling and calling out the virtue signaling on both sides. Because you're right. It is people use issues today to tell everybody how woke they are and they want to be part of the solution, like the Starbucks sign saying, we're in native territory. We understand that. We recognize it. Like virtue signaling to me, businesses using it to the point where like a buddy of mine named Graham Kreitzer sends me this. Walmart is selling a Truth and Reconciliation hoodie for about $100 for tomorrow. Like, that stuff has been fascinating to watch through your Twitter feed. And I want to talk a little bit about that, but I want to get to Kevin Vuong because it fits into the conversation. He was the Liberal candidate for Spadina, Trinity Spadina, I think, and he won, by a couple share points. And then they did the mail-in vote, and he ended up winning in a landslide, basically. Prior to the election, he was basically kicked out of the Liberal Party because he didn't disclose a former sexual assault that he had withdrawn. I haven't paid incredible attention to it because my mind's busy with other things, but I see all kinds of people virtue signaling off the back of it. And I want to bring this up. This is Adam Vaughan, who was the MP for that area. He says, I've worked hard over the past few days to convince Kevin Vuong to resign, offered to assist him to navigate in this move and to do it in a way that respects the person at heart of the allegation while showing him how to maintain constituency. Long story short, he was one of several people, and this is something you've been on. What the fuck happened, and why is this such a massive deal between the people that think that because there were no charges? Like, explain the whole thing to me if you can.
So look, the charges were withdrawn, which means he never faced trial. He never had a chance to prove his innocence. So in terms of the alleged sexual assault, he is as innocent as you or me or anyone listening to this. If you have charges withdrawn, it's not like you were convicted and there was no punishment. Like, it was as if you were never charged. Now, in the court of public opinion, and certainly in politics, that's not the case. And people who are charged with serious crimes, obviously that's going to be a factor that political parties are going to take into account when they name a candidate. And I thought Chris Selly of the National Post, also a very acerbic guy, really good political instincts, he had a good column yesterday in the National Post where he said, like, what the hell happened here? This was a very prominent riding. It's an absolute lock for the Liberals. I mean, they could run, like a monkey and it would win because it's such a Liberal riding. I think one stat, I think Adam Vaughan won by 55% at one point in the past. And so this was not a no-hope riding, because sometimes no-hope ridings, you don't give a lot of attention to the candidates, but that wasn't the case here. And the Liberals called the election. They should have been more prepared than anybody. So shame on the Liberals. This is the sort of thing that, it's a bad thing. However, once the guy got through the process and once he was disowned by the Liberals, for the Liberals, or in the case of Adam Vaughan, he's like he's not a politician anymore, to then come in and start making noises like you have to resign, I actually kind of switched sides, and I was like, you know what? It's like that scene in American Beauty where Kevin Spacey busts his wife at the drive-thru, and he looks at her and says, "You never get to tell me what to do anymore." As soon as the Liberals disavowed themselves of this candidate, he can say to them, okay, I'm not a Liberal anymore. I won the riding. The voters elected me. You don't get to tell me what to do anymore. If the Parliament kicks me out, because once in a blue moon, I think it happened with Louis Riel, Parliament can actually eject one of its own members. But barring that, the Liberals don't get to tell this guy what to do anymore. And when I saw these eruptions on Twitter, primarily liberal Twitter, not just Twitter, not just liberal Twitter, but primarily liberal Twitter, there was this kind of frustration among the Liberals that was sort of like, hey, look, you were once a Liberal, we get to tell you when to step down, we still control you. And they don't. Yeah. They disavow themselves. Yeah. And so that's my point.
That was exactly what I thought too. I thought it was like more of a party thing than anything else. And I'm just a little confused. Kariba was on our show like a week ago, I think, and was saying that it is extremely rare for charges to be withdrawn in cases like this. And what I couldn't believe, and I guess I should be able to believe it because it happened all throughout Me Too, when that was really on fire, that people were just comfortable convicting a man and calling him basically a sexual predator without ever seeing any of the evidence, ever. And I thought that was really disappointing. I thought we were past that. I thought that was an unfortunate sort of like ancillary thing of Me Too that we would eventually get over. We would be logical again. But no.
We're never going to get past it. Did you think OJ was guilty?
Me?
I don't know. There's a decent case that his son might have done it. And by the way, John, I'm just kidding. By the way, John, if someone comes up over you're my psychiatrist.
Okay. I'm just like you've got a brick wall behind you, like you're at a comedy club or something.
He's on a roof.
You're on a roof. Okay. I'm not going to ask for the backstory on that. I'll just accept it.
Just move on, John.
I'm just going to move on. So I will just say that in terms of the Me Too stuff, part of the Me Too movement, which had a strong aspect of truth to it, was there were a lot of women who were saying, look, police and prosecutors in many cases have not taken some of these allegations seriously, and they have not prosecuted cases that they should have prosecuted. As a result of that, especially here in Ontario, from the numbers I've seen, prosecutors are on notice that if they have any chance of prevailing in a case involving allegations of sexual assault, they prosecute that case. It isn't like, well, we only have a 30 or 40% chance of this has been the policy at the Attorney General's office for years now. And, it's completely defensible policy. These are just serious crimes we're talking about. However, given the existence of that policy, which has been around for several years now, the fact that charges are withdrawn is a big deal. Now, Toronto Star, if you look at it, I think the complainant, the alleged victim said, well, I didn't have the energy to go through with it. I mean, if somebody believes they've been sexually assaulted, to go through to trial is a huge ordeal. And it is credible that a sexual assault happened and the woman said, I don't want to subject myself to that. That is completely credible. However, due process is meaningful. And if a person doesn't get their day in court, there's simply allegations and the charges are withdrawn, you have to treat that person as innocent. It doesn't mean the Liberals had to name this guy as their candidate. And it also doesn't mean that it was improper for the Liberals to withdraw their approval of this guy once these disclosures were made. He should have disclosed all this stuff, and apparently he didn't. That's wrong. However, once the Liberals washed their hands of this guy, they don't control him anymore. And I resented the way that supporters of the Liberals imagined that they still had their hooks in this guy. They didn't. Mm-hmm. He's his own guy now. He's his own guy.
Yeah. And that's a great point. I think everybody gets caught up in the is he guilty or isn't he guilty as opposed to the process.
Nature, right?
Right. Yeah, exactly. And because I want it to me, in that situation, I want to start with who is Kevin Vuong. By the way, if you haven't seen him, this is him. He looks excited. He looks like he's really thrilled.
We're not drawing inferences based on appearances, but that is an unfortunate photo.
It is an unfortunate photo, but he looks pumped, like he looks excited to defend himself. But in the court of public opinion, and you bring up a good point, I want to kind of put this to the group because I think it's an interesting conversation, right? Like a sexual assault and the rumors of one and the taint that comes with it is, I think it's the worst. It's one of the worst things you could do. If you are guilty of it, is stealing someone's innocence in that regard. I really do. I always have. So having said that, he's not guilty of any of it. There was just the inference. So how do you go about finding out or figuring out whether or not this guy, and who goes around figuring out whether or not this guy is allowed to, deserves to, is going to take this seriously when he sits in government. Because it's not just him. It's like every other example like this that's a problem, right? Like someone is accused of something, they're found not guilty of it, they're not guilty. So what do we do? Like as a people, do we take sides and say, oh, I think he's guilty, so that entitles me to treat him like shit?
To some extent, it's a political decision. And, one name I'll throw out there. Sorry, I'm dominating the conversation because, unfortunately, I can't be here for long.
You're smarter than all of us.
That's
Jon.
not. You know what? I've been on the show a couple
It's
times,
true.
and people keep accusing me of being intelligent, and that has
hold it.
has not been
Dude.
proven. Has not been proven.
Dude,
Alex,
yes, it is. Look at Judith. Judith
Yeah.
sent us a comment, and she made sure to tell us she would not be here to listen to this shit unless it was for you, Jon.
Yeah, but
So
she means that in a way you don't understand. What she means is she's recording it. She's hoping I say something that I cancel myself, and she's that's why Judith is here. I'm on to you, Judith. I know a lot of Judiths out there. So, but what I will say is that to some extent this is political, because if you're saying how do we definitively determine that a person committed sexual assault, we have judges, we have lawyers, we have juries, we have a court system, we have due process. However, in situations where that's not there, we have to admit to ourselves that to a certain extent it's political. And I'll give you an example. Wab Kinew, leader of the Manitoba NDP, he's a guy who there are allegations against him, I think, from an ex-girlfriend. Forget the details of the allegations, but it was a big deal at the time because you had feminists and proponents of, say, Indigenous rights and people who wanted a high-profile candidate to lead the Manitoba NDP. This was a big discussion on the left. And effectively, there was a political decision that says, in this case, for political purposes, we're going to let bygones be bygones. Julie Payette, or God, forget her name already, the former Governor General.
yeah, that's her.
There were allegations against her in regard to her partner. She had been accused of domestic abuse in the past. I believe police had been called. And the Liberal Party's position on this, when this was brought up, was essentially, we're not going to deal with it.
Greater than that, yeah. Female astronaut is greater than past.
Right. Yes. It was effectively a utilitarian cost-benefit decision saying, yeah, okay, we get it. Not
I
great.
didn't know that.
Well, the articles written, I mean, it's not well known because, of course, there was all sorts of controversies that became more prominent after. But the decision to essentially dismiss that on the part of the governing Liberals was essentially a political decision. And I think we have to admit to ourselves that formally it's about due process, but in the court of public opinion, when you're dealing with a media figure, when you're dealing with a sports figure, and it's unproven allegations, it's smoke. When there's smoke but no fire, it becomes a political decision. And we don't want to admit that to ourselves because politics is grubby. But you are effectively...
That's what you're getting into.
Yep.
I mean, if that's the world you're jumping into, then if something happens that impacts your political career privately, that's not our fault. That's
don't you
on
guys
them.
Don't you guys think Vuong would have been told by the Liberals not to bother running if he had told them that he had charged and they were withdrawn? Because even though it does kind of speak to like trust, between him and the party, I kind of feel like it was a stroke of genius because I don't even think he would have been on the ballot if he had told them. So
I'm confused about the timeline. So did were the allegations brought forward? Was there a pending court case? Then they were dropped. Then he put his name into the hat. Like, is that the order?
You're talking about
I think so.
Wab Kinew?
No,
on
we're
the-
talking about
Vuong,
Kevin
Vuong.
Vuong. Kevin Vuong
It was 2019, I think, was the charges originated.
Yeah.
And he didn't disclose them. And by the way, under Liberal Party rules, I think when you do the application, as we all know, because of course we're all going to become Liberal MP candidates, you have to say, is there anything basically we should know that would bring the party into disrepute and so forth? And he should have disclosed that. Although, as has been noted on Twitter by Aaron Weir, most famously, who is actually former NDP MP, an amazing follow on Twitter. You should follow him, Aaron Weir. And he noted that Justin Trudeau himself, he said publicly, I didn't disclose the blackface. Now, by the way, wearing blackface is not a criminal offense yet. So it's not in the same category as being charged with criminals, with sexual assault. However, his explanation was kind of the same. He said it was really embarrassing, so I didn't say anything, even though he recognized that he should have said something when he not just applied to be leader, when he applied to be MP, and he didn't because he was embarrassed. So this is kind of human nature. Liberals were totally within their right to kick this guy out of the party. I resent the fact that they still think that, he makes $185,000 a year as an MP, which is $185,000 more than any other job that he's going to get under this current circumstances. No, and you know what? Money matters. Yeah. Like, it's easy for me to say, or us, we're all in the high-flying world of Canadian journalism. So, you throw around money like confetti. But for a guy like him, the difference between $185K a year and $0 a year, because a former MP in your riding tells you it's the right thing to do, sorry, that's, again, you don't get to tell me what to do anymore. I'm not a liberal.
Yeah. And, as disgusting as the allegations are, I completely agree with you. And I said that the other day. Like, as creepy as the whole thing is, and as awful and sordid as it is, I mean, he's his own dude now. They cut bait, and everybody that was with him cut bait, and they all cut bait because he lied. And to your point, how many other MPs have lied? The Prime Minister fucking lied and told us that he lied when he was standing on that plane, and he's like, sorry about the blackface. I didn't tell anyone about it because I was embarrassed and scared. So, well, what the fuck was this? Same thing. I mean, it's if it's good for the goose.
The allegation?
Sorry, John, go ahead.
Because I just don't recall what the allegation. I don't remember seeing the allegations themselves published when it comes to Vuong.
So Vuong, he was on a date with a woman. I think they were watching TV or something, and she had fallen asleep. And then this is all alleged, not proven in court, and that he followed her to bed eventually. She was asleep, and then and that's where the sexual assault took place. That's what allegedly happened. It was as I understand, a date rape situation. Very hard to prove. And, by the way, it could have happened, and you can see why prosecutors said, well, we have a reluctant complainant, so let's not go through with it. Very murky situation. And I don't want to dismiss the possibility that there was actually sexual assault. It's possible. I also know that if I were in this guy's shoes, if he steps down now, that's it. I mean, his career is over. If he stays on in office, 6 months pass, a year passes, he represents his constituents well, it's possible he could run in the next election if he makes a name for himself in some way. And let's say it's 3 or 4 years, it's possible in the next election, he could rebuild his life. And if he's an innocent guy, that's the way to do it. I mean, who cares?
He deserves it.
Who cares what the former MP is telling you to do from a party that just kicked you out? How does he have any control of what your actions are? I mean, that's like, there's a certain liberal hubris at play here that like they get to tell you what to do beyond the political grave. Like, fuck you. I mean, I was instantly on his side once the liberals tried to do that.
And I didn't have any opinion about him until I saw his picture.
Look, the picture is a problem. The picture is a problem. He has one.
I don't know. It's kind of the antithesis of what he's accused of, isn't it?
No, but it's sort of like, buy this condo in the low 300s.
I don't know. I think it's more like come join the math club.
It's if the math club were also a cult, and you got a condo.
And a free haircut.
Get a condo with that cult membership. That is incredible. Yeah, it's only cost you $300,000. Hey, listen, I got to tell you, it's an amazing conversation, right? Like, I don't have skin in the game, and I just think it's a fascinating conversation because we talk about the mistakes people make in their lives, and we also talk about the uglier side of this, like, is that person guilty or isn't that person guilty? And then we also talk about public opinion and the woke mob and how this whole thing works. And I didn't know what to make of it until we had you on the show. And this is one of the reasons why we wanted to have you on, by the way. It was because to make sense of this whole thing so that we can understand it and go forward, because there are people that are so caught up in using this to their political or PR advantage on social media. It's fucking making me sick.
Why don't you get him on the podcast? I mean, he's got nothing to lose. He's got nothing. I mean, I don't know him.
Hold on.
Did you do that one with us?
No,
we don't do politicians
anymore.
He's not even a liberal, though. He's barely a politician. I mean,
dude, he's known for other stuff. I want to talk to him about that, and then we can talk about this, right? He's
Guys-
no Nakula Das, but we'll have him on.
James, you need to learn to be more flexible about our guests.
Relax.
Yeah.
You know what? I'll leave you guys to. Unfortunately, I gotta
Thanks,
go.
dude.
John,
Thank you.
Last
Thanks for the
question. Last
Adderall.
question though. Before you go, how's the disc golf game? I see you in the back. Good summer for it. You had a good summer of disc golf.
It's been absolutely amazing, and maybe I've mentioned this before. I had
Yeah.
all the usual stereotypes about disc golf. I thought it was for like that picture of Vuong. I thought, oh, that's a guy who plays disc golf. Like, yes, that was like, see, that guy. He's you know what? He's probably playing with his disc, even as the guy was taking his picture. That's what it looks like. And then I played it, and I was like, my God, where have you been all my life? And it's been 14 months. I only played it because of the pandemic, because all the sports I usually played I couldn't do because they were all shut down. All the la-di-da, tennis clubs and squash clubs were closed down. And I fell in love with it. And if you're listening to this, most major neighborhoods in Ontario, most urban centers in Canada have disc golf. Grab a disc, go out. I know I sound like I'm sort of a fanboy for this sport. I don't have it. I joined the U.S. Disc Golf Association. I got my amateur USDGA number. So
Congratulations.
yeah, you know what? I'm gonna send James a scan of
add
my.
that to your resume.
Good.
Your
I
Put it
got
on
your
your
resume.
passport.
Did you see it? Yeah,
your
here it is.
vaccine
This is his
passport.
This is his vaccine resume. This is his Jon Kay's vaccine passport resume. About me, dynamic, highly motivated, Toronto-based white-collar professional, double vaccinated,
Oh my
public health minded.
God!
Also a Virgo. Want to learn about me? Follow me on TikTok.
What?
I swear to God, I'm stealing that idea.
70% of it. 70% of it was to mortify my kids, but
Yeah.
the other
That's
30,
good motivation, though.
the other 30% is public health. So it's win-win. Okay,
Those
I
are
said
Thanks,
it was
John.
kind of
numbers.
Laughlin's
Okay, we'll
stolen.
talk to you
one,
soon.
too.
Jon Kay's got to go, everybody. But fuck, I love that guy. I love
Oh,
talking to
buddy.
him. Makes
You know
sense,
what I
dude.
find interesting
Yeah.
about John is that whenever we comment on his intelligence, he gets quite
He's humble.
He's humble, but he gets quite defensive
Embarrassed.
about because he's fucking crazy smart, right?
Well,
He's just
and
so smart.
if you
He's
apply
listening right now.
that, if you apply that stuff to common sense, like the guy had the
That's why he's
charges
funny.
withdrawn. He's in the government now. Like, how many fucking criminals do we have in the government? A lot. This guy's not even one of those, right?
Yeah.
That's
So Ryan,
thinking
you had a
anyway.
lot to say in that last segment, Ryan.
Yeah.
I couldn't.
I was muted for the entire interview, so that's okay. But what
Why?
I did want to say, we have a friend in our own family that just went through all this. James spends a lot of time with, and if it wasn't something that went through the courts and it wasn't something that he was convicted of, I'm sorry. Like, are we supposed to go with the court of public opinion, especially when it's politically motivated? That just seems too biased to me. I'd rather wait to watch and see what the cops do. And if the cops say there's nothing there, the prosecutors, the Crown says there's nothing there. What do you like? How far do we take it? And I'm not saying don't believe the victims of sexual assault, but at what point did we draw the line?
I'll
glad you're not
be
saying
honest.
that.
I'll be honest. I'm
Sorry.
judge.
I'll be the
jury,
one that
and
says it.
executor
That's fine.
In all of
Yeah.
these, I will see a picture of somebody and go, "Fucking guilty," and I don't think I'm that far from the rest of the public.
Honestly,
You're
can
not.
I know
I
this-
mean, dude, there are so
I
many
know this
people
is
that
not
we
politically
look at.
correct. Sorry, I
Yeah.
just was on. He looks gay more than a rapist. He does. In that picture, I know I'm just going by a pic, but if I were to guess, like that looks like a gay Asian guy. My friend's dad
James
married a gay
DeFiore,
Asian. He
ladies
looks
and
exactly like that. He does. He looks
He's
like his twin.
He's a gay
You know?
condo broker, mathematician, disc
They're
golf player.
Oh,
That's
gay,
what we
the
just figured
condo
out.
brokers.
Wow, wait
Not
till we
enough
get
rope.
Bondzee,
Not
and
enough
Bondzee
rope
can do an
walking.
impression.
Yeah,
Oh, you
we'll
sure?
get Bondzee on. That'll make it even
Yeah,
more.
just wait for
offensive.
Bondzee can actually do his impression now.
I thought his headphones was
I'm
his
not
hair.
allowed. I'm not allowed to do that impression anymore.
I
Impression of who?
I gotta say,
Now,
who did the picture of us in the anchorman?
That was Joe.
Who
I
did
think that was Joe.
Was that Ryan or Joe?
No, it was
No,
Joe.
Oh,
Joe.
nerd dad.
Yeah.
My God, I don't know why that was so accurately funny to me.
It was
but
great.
I died
I know.
laughing at that when I saw that. I couldn't stop. I was crying.
I got it,
'Cause
guys.
it's-
Sorry.
See you, dude.
Sorry.
Good luck.
My
James.
psychiatrist thing is.
He's getting
Yeah,
in
I'm good.
trouble.
No, you can go.
He's getting
Yeah,
in
no,
trouble.
he's getting in super shit, isn't he? I'm trying to
His
find that
boss is
thing.
on
You're
the
talking
roof.
about the Anchorman, the News 4 Anchorman thing that we put out?
Yeah, it
Yep.
got tweeted to us. We were all tagged in it. So it's down in your feed, Dean. You should be able to
Fuck,
find
I
it.
hate doing this.
But-
And Twitter's been popping for the past couple of days because of the Catholic school shit.
Bondzee-
Reconciliation coming up tomorrow.
Bondzee was brick. Oh my god, I just about cried.
Yeah.
I watched.
Hey, Bondzee, how you doing?
Yeah.
it. Good.
I had the cowboy hat on. Yeah, that's right, Clay. Yeah.
I watched Anchorman last night. I had to.
I
after
gotta
seeing
watch
that.
it now.
To the
Yeah.
picture, absolutely.
I did. Yeah, it was fabulous.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm going to get it for you. Here you go.
So
Yeah,
good.
Joe put this out at Blundell.net. That's one of our Twitter accounts. You can check it out there. You can follow us at It's Dean Blundell as well.
He's
We
smart.
put this out. There you go.
That Joe.
Bondzee is there. That's James. Is Paul Rudd, Karima. She was upset by this, but wasn't like because we couldn't color her
She
skin.
didn't want
right?
to be blonde,
No.
right?
Uh,
She did
and-
admit
and
that it
Locke-
would be more offensive to. I'm Champ, right? She
yeah,
did
Champ
say it would have
kind.
been more offensive to blackface her though.
Mhm. Yeah, I'm glad
Yeah.
that we didn't. And of course, I'm Ron Burgundy.
Yeah.
But what really took my breath away was Bondzee was Brick Tamlin, and I'm like, no fucking shit. He is 100% the Brick Tamlin of this.
I'm
guy.
happy
Look
with
at
that.
that guy.
It's a superstar.
You know what? Honestly, Bondzee, I'm glad you own it, and I'm glad you celebrate it because
Yeah.
you should. It's the standout role on that show, hands down.
Yeah, I think
right?
it's flattering.
And there's not a podcast that you don't come on where you don't steal the fucking thunder from all of us completely. You don't even need to say anything. You just need to show up, right?
You should
And
have shown
that's
up
the
with a
beauty of
toaster and
fucking
some
I
Brick.
mayonnaise.
appreciate that. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Look at me, all handsome and like, well, no hair. It's so weird.
I'm
Still.
trying to find the screen grab that I put out. Chris, I don't know if you can find it for us. The screen grab that you put out because I actually do have something to talk to you about today. And it's fine. Imitation is the highest form of flattery. But I've been noticing over the past several weeks that traditionally when we do our show here at DeanBlundell.com, you can get us on YouTube, Twitch as well, that like 2-3 days later, you have the same guests that we have on when I'm with you or maybe just Locke and James. And then after it's almost the same show.
Yeah.
And case in point, Lindley, who joins us on the cast today, you can see Lindley's in the group. Lindley and I were having a little chat about it. Oh, there it is. There's a screen grab. And I put this up. I'm like, oh, it's really nice to see. Because that was literally our show minus Lindley's lovely wife. That was our show last week. You took my Blue Jays blogger, you took my Brain blogger and his wife, and you just did the show. You just did our show, which is why it's Bald Dean Jr. in your Chiron. I think I love it. But is there a reason?
I thought you like to be flattered.
Is there a reason for that? Is it because it's almost like a carbon copy of what we're doing?
Well, not quite. I mean, my own show is my own show. I ask different questions. Yeah, it's the same people, but I'll be honest. Last week, I had 2 people cancel on me at the very last minute, and
Gotcha.
Hops was kind enough to come on and fill on for one of the shows.
He was awesome.
And Lindley had asked me to be on his show, and it hadn't worked out. That was the day that I finally went and saw a doctor, and just through conversations between me and Ryan, he agreed. He thought it would be a great idea to come on my show, and he was more than happy to do it. And it had his wife, and I thought it was a whole different setting from what you speak to Ryan about or what you spoke to Brad about. Brad was thankful to come on and talk about some mental health issues and thank me.
So what he's doing, Dean, is he's expanding on your content.
Call it what you will. I've also had a plethora of other guests that you haven't. Story Time with Reggie is not the Dean Blundell show. We've had Marcus the comedian.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not being hard on you. But
Also,
what Locke's touching on is you're popularizing a popular podcast.
Yeah. It's all good.
I
It's all
love it.
good. Listen, it's
I just thought, and we're one big happy family here, and it's nice to have
Totally.
on the other people.
Help each other out.
I was supposed to put
exposure.
an
I
episode.
think
I
it's
was supposed to put
awesome.
an episode out today myself, and all my guests canceled. So I've actually been recording this, and I'm releasing it tonight at 9 o'clock.
yeah.
Okay, and it's gonna be
Under
Brent's
your
in it.
banner.
That's right.
And
That's
Brent,
right. Just
you
so you
may
know.
want to leave your phone open because you're probably going to get a call for Bondzee's next week's podcast.
Bondzee and I have been trying to
Brent and
connect.
I-
We were in California. We were trying to connect. It just didn't work.
Yeah,
Sorry,
so I can't
Bondzee,
have
go
you
ahead.
on anymore because Dean's gonna.
Oh,
be
you can.
upset.
I love it, dude. I was watching it the other day, and I'm like, oh my god. But to Ryan's point, because I was talking to Ryan, I'm like, it's almost like the questions were the same, and he's like, yeah, I felt that way. I'm like,
I don't know. That's not true, dude. Come on.
I'm just glad when I came on today you didn't ask me about being fat again, because that would have been 3 shows in a row I talked about when I was 550 pounds. But no, you know what? To Bondzie's defense, it was a very last minute booking with me, and because he said, listen, you want to come on? I'm like, hell yeah, I'll totally help you out. No problem. And we did. We were steering the conversation away a little more local. Bondzee and I have a local connection because we're both from the same hometown, and we tried.
Are
to
you really?
Hamilton, you can say it.
Yeah, we're both from Hamilton.
you guys are both
Hamilton.
from the Hammer? Are you serious?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
That is
Born and
fucking
raised,
awesome.
We have real life outside of Twitter mutual friends and everything. We found out it was pretty.
Wow.
It was pretty
That
intense,
that does clear a lot of things up for me too.
Doesn't
No,
it?
and also one thing, Nick. I didn't steal him. Nick and I have been conversing a lot on Twitter lately, private messages and stuff too.
You need to stop talking,
appreciating what I'm
Bondzee.
up
You're
to,
making
and-
it work worse.
Yeah, you don't have to
I
justify
just
it. I
asked
think
him
it's
if he'd like to come on.
Yeah, talk Blue Jays baseball. But it was, dude. I like it. You don't have to you don't have to go, hey, I did this because of this, because that now you're sounding guilty. Now it sounds like you're actually really.
We already know
messed
you're
up.
guilty. That's fine.
okay.
We're comfortable with it. We're fucking with you. You just
Yeah,
keep
we don't
making it worse.
We talked
all
about
that-
this on Bondzie's show, and
You guys talked about stealing our show on his show. Like, you actually
we
talked about it.
We talked about how he has the same defense mechanism as you guys were talking with James about how when people pile on, instead of jumping in with it and starting to tussle, he gets a little defensive about it. And I just think he takes it a little too personally. This is the only reason why I'm on today, Bondzee, is because I came to pile on with you, and I was culpable in the offense, so I came to jump on you. So please give it.
You
right
guys
back.
all need to start
what we're trying
doing
to tell
what
you.
I do. Listen to me. It's a
Not
little bit of
giving a
Dr.
fuck.
Locke time here. Okay, listen,
Dr. Locke.
everybody
Hang
listening.
on. Do you want Dr. Locke music? Is that what you
Fuck,
want?
who cares about music? Listen, this is
Okay.
not about this. Is everybody. Listen to me. Stop fucking worrying about what other people think. And if you have any feelings, find a basement and drink them away. Everybody's lives will be better. Fuck feelings. I'm telling you right now. Trust me. I learned
Bondzee, listen.
this when I was 13 years. With 13 years old, you cannot control what other people think of you. I will judge you 5 seconds after I meet you. And there is a good chance that judgment will stick with you from my side of the fence until you die. And you're not changing other people's minds very often. You're just not. And the fact that you're worried about what somebody decides on you in 5 seconds, and we all do it. Everybody fucking does it. I took one look at that Kevin fucking guy that they posted, and I was like, that fucking guy's guilty. I mean, we all do this. Everybody does it. You can't control it. Bondzee, you're a good fucking guy. You already know that. Ryan's a good fucking guy. You already know that. Brent, verdict's still out on him. Dean's a fucking asshole. We
See,
all
but-
know
Asshole.
all these things.
Let me tell you
These
something,
things
Bondzee.
are-
They told me they were going to pick on me until you got here. And
I
that's been the
know.
style. It's been like this in public school and high school for me. So everyone can go fuck themselves.
Yeah.
Especially in Edmonton.
You're
Life,
welcome.
yeah, especially Edmonton. Thank you. Man. I'm telling you right now, your life will be so much better if you can shake off worrying about what other people think. Bondzee, you do you. You know what I would do? I'll tell you what I would do. Based on this conversation and what Dean's doing to you right now, I would have
to you for
every.
him.
Okay,
This is for him. I'm making him a better person. You and I talk about this. We make people better by treating them like shit. That's what we do.
Bondzee, I would watch his podcast every week, and I'd poach one of his fucking guests
Verbatim.
every week until you die. Or
I just
until he
texted
kicks you
John
off the
point.
podcast.
If he's available for the show
Hey
tonight.
Dean, can you do me a favor? Can you put this up in a dual window of just Bondzee and I for a minute? Just Bondzee and I in a dual window, and we'll do a pod right now. Just Bondzee and I.
I'll get out of here.
Yeah. Yes. Hey
There we
Bonds,
go.
what's going
Hi,
on, buddy?
welcome to Baldine.
Hey. I'm in
Baldine
Dean's
Jr.
house, so not only have we taken over the pod, I've taken over his house, and you should see the shit
Perfect.
going on here. It's a
Welcome
whole
to
fucking
my
thing.
new network, Baldine Jr. Thanks for joining me.
That's all
everybody.
right. That's all right. Baldine Jr. I fucking like it.
Welcome to the show.
That's all right.
Yeah,
Sorry
yeah.
we didn't connect in
So you were
California.
just
Yeah, sorry we didn't connect
that's okay,
in
but you were just
California.
on tour with Megadeth. Can you
was.
tell us about that?
Yeah, it was really,
I'll
really
see, maybe Rook, can you put up
It was
some
really
of those
good.
pictures Dean used earlier?
Yeah,
We
it
can
was
use the same
it
ones.
was
He won't
really
care.
really good. You know, metal. We had a lot of shows. Yeah, this guy was singing for one of the bands.
I am very
It was
guilty.
good. It was. Don't do that. I'm married to an Asian wife, Bondzee. You fucking.
Sorry, I
That's
know.
it. Pull me
What's
off the
my
pod.
show?
Cancel this show. I'm canceling Bondzee. He forgets that I'm married to a fucking Asian woman. But you fucking Hamilton motherfucker. Anyways, thanks for having me on your show, Bondzee.
You
That's why I have
can't
to
trust
be
the
involved in these
Hamilton
things.
guys. Oh my God, that's awesome. Yeah.
Hey, you can't do the Asian accent when you talk to a man who's married to an Asian. Just letting you know.
Actually, there you
Bondzee.
go. There you go.
Nobody told me.
Innovate.
We've been telling you for like 3 months to
Bondzee,
stop doing it.
Bondzee, it's been offensive from the first time you did it. Like reintroducing
I
it
do it.
today
I do it in
is
fun.
still going to be offensive.
No disrespect. No disrespect at all.
Only I can do it.
Innovate, Bondzee.
Let's hear your best
Innovate.
one.
See now, Dean put out the edict that there are no more politicians on this show. So you go get Kevin Vuong on your show.
Oh yeah,
I'll
that's
turn my
nice.
show into a full-blown
that's a
political
power
show
move
now.
too.
Bondzee, I'd like to also point out the fact that I have
That's a big dick move.
all the buses on our tour were working. Yours has been breaking down. So remember when I told you when you were
Well, it never broke down. We had things that stopped working, or I hit a boulder. The bus never ever broke down. I
That's
might
what
add.
it's called, dude. That's
The
literally
wheels
what
keep
it's
going
called
round
when
and
something
round.
breaks down. Is it?
The bus didn't break down. Some stuff broke, but the bus would still drive.
You know what's funny? I actually almost called Bondzee, guys. If he wasn't dying on his bet, we had a couple of drivers actually go down with COVID, and getting a bus driver replacement in America is next to impossible. And I was like, what do they need for a license? Are you driving your own bus, right, Bondzee?
Yeah, I am.
And do you have the license? Do you have the
he
license
doesn't,
or no? You're
Brent.
just fucking driving it. All right. Well,
Yeah.
then that wouldn't have worked.
Yes,
No,
I
he
did.
doesn't.
That wouldn't have been. I can picture Bondzee driving with no thing, going, "Oh, I'm in so much fucking pain from the back."
It's not a commercial vehicle. That one would have been different. That's
Yeah.
commercial.
Almost
this is
called you, buddy.
personal.
Almost.
And
called you.
that would have been cool. But yeah, I don't need a
And I
That's
would've
person.
cool.
I
You
don't-
should get make sure you ask Bondzee to give you a ride on his bus that he's crashed like into 13 things already. That'd be
One.
great.
2.
That's 12. Really 12. But I fucking love you.
Yeah.
Dude, I'm happy. I'm
You're
happy
one of
to
my
do your show.
I swear to God, you're one of my favorite people. I look every time I find out that you're coming on the pod. I get excited. I truly do. I fucking enjoy you. I really
Thanks
do,
a lot.
Bondzee. And don't go changing, please.
No.
I won't.
Yeah.
You can't fix stupid at this point, bro. Bondzee is as Bondzee does.
Do you have a show tonight, Bondzee? You got a show?
Yes, I do. Yeah.
So
Eastern
Brent,
Standard Time.
John Kay.
What do you got?
John Kay's on tonight.
Jon Kay, Brent. No, all jokes aside, we got a fan of yours and mine, Wade Holloway, international and award-winning photographer.
Yeah.
He's in
So we'll be
Edmonton.
talking with,
Wade's in Edmonton.
He is an
kid.
Edmonton boy.
Yeah.
Great
I
guy.
think he's got a
Good guy
Friday-
himself, too.
He's got a Friday podcast as well, I think, that I've never
He
been
does.
asked to be on. So
Bitch Fest.
not going to fucking
Yeah.
feel bad about
I've
that
been
at
on
all.
it 2 or 3 times.
Why? Because I don't fucking care.
Did you guys before we go? Did you guys see Jerry Forbes and Brother Jake's podcast yesterday?
I
missed
haven't
it.
watched.
Actually,
I watched
I
a
got
couple
the
at the
alert,
beginning, but I
couldn't
haven't.
watch.
Oh my fucking god! These two guys. First
They're
of all, they're
nuts.
radio Hall of Famers. They're insane, and they have nothing to lose. Nothing. So they don't give 2 fucks, and I love every second of it. They spent 7 minutes absolutely sewering Mike Bullard last year.
Oh no.
Yeah.
7 minutes. And it was like 7 of the greasiest. Like, I fucking hate that guy. Because yesterday's show was all about people they hated, right? Which I fucking loved it. But it was literally, and it went on for like 5 to 7 minutes. And Chris, our producer, our head of production, we're talking about it. He's like, hope you don't mind. Like, I think they were a little worried that might have pissed you off. And I sent him a note after. I'm like, guys, that might have been the funniest thing I've ever seen in my whole life. But it was literally 7 minutes of like laundry list of issues they had with the guy over and over and over again. And I'm like, this is what radio should be now. Everybody would fucking listen to that. That's Lachlan's show every day.
That says something too, because those guys, when they get on somebody, it's pretty good. So if they're talking, if the show was based around people you hate, and Mike Bullard made it to the top of that list, that's saying something.
They're good at it.
I love Mike. I love Mike so much.
I can shit talk people, but no, Jake and Jerry are their next fucking level. Like, it's not even they're like Olympic level when they shit on people.
Oh, dude, it's you've never seen anything like. We have the audio. Chris has it for us. Are you ready? You got it queued up, Chris? Just give me a. He did. Bullard retweeted this show from my account today. Oh, that's the best. Yeah, we've got the audio. And keep in mind, I like Mike. These guys don't, but I've got no fucking skin in the game.
Toronto, of course, there's a big gig down there and stuff, right? Tragically Hip were on stage, and they announced, and back then they would just announce it. You're out drinking beer, and all of a sudden,
up you'd go.
Up you'd go. So I'm up there, and I'm just out of my mind. I remember going through the side of the door, and there was one of the great agents of our time. I'll give you his initials, Ralph James.
Oh, yes.
Yeah, Ralphie boy. He gave me something just before I went on stage. And I waltzed straight out onto stage, and I was just, I can't fucking believe it. To all the program directors out there that didn't believe in me, here's this for you. Come on, boy. So anyway, we get out. Mike Bullard's hosting the thing. So we get off the stage, and we're going up in the elevator. The Tragically Hip are in the elevator. Mike Bullard's there. I'm there. And my buddy Jim Conrad. You know Jim, the big voice guy. Probably did.
Jim, yeah.
Big voice. Jim, the great barbarian.
Yes.
And so he's got 2 rum and cokes in his hand. The elevator doors, we can't get him in there. And Mike Bullard's right in the center. The doors are starting to close. I said, Jim, I'll meet you up in the penthouse. They're starting to close. And Jim leans in. He goes, hey, Mike Bullard, you're not that funny.
The door closes. See you later.
The Hip are losing their shit. And Mike Bullard, who the fuck is that guy? Who is that guy? Anyway, that's my Mike Bullard story.
Legends.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I'm dying laughing over here. Yeah. Anyway, I'm yet to see, like, I'm wondering if I'm going to get a tweet from the dude. Or
I
like
love
a text
from Bullard.
Saying, hey,
Oh, yeah, you
I don't
will.
think I will. Oh, yeah.
No, you will.
Sure.
He'll send you a note. Like it'll be. He's not. Help me out here. There's a word for it. Ryan, you're smarter than me. Passive aggressive. Will it be
nonchalant and passive aggressive?
Yeah. Okay. It'll be
Nonchalant.
something. He'll
be very, very laissez-faire about what he says to you.
better. He will be hurt by it, but will not want to show that he's hurt by it.
Protecting the ego. I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I get it. This is the game we play with this stuff, right? Like, we got guys that have, like, radio guys, and Locke, you can attest to this, and I'll let everybody in a little secret. Radio people from like 1900 to 2000 and I don't know, probably now, hate each other. Like, you have to have an ego the size of fucking Montana to be able to do that job effectively, and to be able to hide yourself away. Like, it's not just entertainment, it's not just radio people, it's like, it's traditionally dudes who've had like wild success and got paid a lot of money in this business that turn into like just angry people, right? But here's the thing, is that people like us in that business hung on to that for years. Yeah. So they don't like Mike because they have very good reasons to not like Mike. Maybe they don't find him funny. I don't know what the deal is. Maybe there are other issues that they have with him.
TV gig too, right? There's
exactly like there's
why did that
jealousy.
Get the TV gig? Yeah.
I'm funny too. that kind of stuff.
I
I'm not
take
saying that's what they're at, but I'm just saying that it all fits in.
And Bullard can dish it as bad as or as much as he takes it too, which is really good. Like, I'll never forget that story about what's buddy whose wife apparently crashed the boat. Who was that again? What's his name?
Kevin O'Leary.
Kevin O'Leary.
He's got a great Kevin. Have you ever heard his Kevin O'Leary story? When he saw Kevin O'Leary when he was at on radio when Mike was on radio, he passed him in a hallway somewhere and he just totally fucking just blew Mike off, like kind of like didn't even give him the time of day to open the door for him, and Mike walked right past him and said, no matter how much money you got in the world, you'll never be more than 5'6", and he just walked away from him, and that was to his face. So Bullard's got chops, and
he'll dish.
Oh yeah,
it's territorial, dude. Like I don't, Locke. What is it? Like I know you and I are a little bit older, and I'm not even in the business anymore, so I don't really give a shit. And for me, it's like, how do we help work with people now? Like I feel very differently. But when I was in the game, it was like the territorial aspect of what we did was so fucking intense. Like I wouldn't let people fill in for me. I wouldn't and it was crazy.
I watched Jimmy Kimmel's Hot Ones the other day, and he had a long career in radio before he got into TV. And he made an interesting comment. He said, you know what, because they were talking a little bit about the competitive nature of late night TV. And he was like, you know what, things are really different now. And he says, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that nobody actually sits down and watches us in real time anymore. All of our shit lives online, and we're all sort of fighting for the same audience, and the same that audience member doesn't stay up until 11 to watch one of the 3 shows anymore, and they will go and find clips of this. So now there's a little bit more of a sharing thing going on with guests and whatnot, right? Like Jimmy said, we have agreements where, listen, okay, if I get Julia Roberts this week, can you guys hang on 2 weeks before you have her? Like there's those conversations, as opposed to if Julia Roberts goes on fucking Leno, she's never coming on Letterman again. Like it's different now. And then he went back and equated it to radio, and he goes, same thing in the radio days. Like you could only listen to one radio show in the morning. So we were all very hyper competitive about that guy that could potentially listen to the 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 shows in that fucking marketplace. So there was a lot more hatred for the people across the hall or across the street, right? And now, same thing. We kind of live in this world where content's just floating around. We got podcasts. It's a little less competitive. I choose still to be a dick and take shots at the competing radio stations, but that's just because of me, and I'm an asshole. We have a bit.
Wade just said what I was going to say.
You're such a prick, Wade.
We have.
I knew that was coming.
Look at this. Look at Wade. He's like, same thing on podcast, right, Bondzee? LMAO.
And that's your guest tonight.
Yeah, I can't wait to roast that.
I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're taking notes.
We have a bit. I like the subtle little shots at people, and I don't like propping myself up. But we have a bit which I think is brilliant. There's a local DJ in town on the country station, Chris Sheets, and he's also the host of the football games. And every time he talks at the football games, we're always drunk at the football games. We always yell, "Fuck you, Sheets!" And everybody around us now has gotten into it because we all sit in the same section all the time now. So anytime Sheets talks, it's always, "Fuck you, Sheets." He also is the jock because he's on a country station where he's kind of got to be milk toast. And I know that he's not a milk toast guy, but he's got to play that role. He's got to play the down heart fucking, homegrown fucking, I'm just a good boy. I call my mom on Mother's Day and write her a poem. And he reads poems to his mom and his sister on his show all the time. And I would rather shoot myself in the face with a shotgun than do that. So we have a bit. We have a bit on the show called His Last Name is Sheets, where we get Jimmy to write poems, who is a dyslexic alcoholic midget, and he reads poems on the air, and we call it Jimmy Sheets Himself. And the thing is, no one will give us credit for that because they know we're trolling this fucking guy, but we're never going to get credit. So you kind of have to you have to take credit yourself for that kind of stuff.
You know,
right?
but those things, I know you guys are friends with them, but those things are. Hang on a second. Thank you. Those things are. They're fun in the moment. Like I was ruthless to certain people.
Yeah.
You were.
Like Mad Dog, this guy that does, and I like his name's Jay Michaels. I don't know. I was awful, like fucking terrible to him. I don't even want to get into it, but the things I would say about him and how useless he was,
I think
and the
there's still
shit that he
clips
stole
online.
from me. Like I would say stuff like, "Hey, if you want to hear what we did today, just tune in to Kiss 92.5 tomorrow morning." Like that's the kind of and talk about how like just awful. And those things are
You
fun.
did
and it
damage
gave
to him. You did psychological damage to him.
Oh, not just him. Roz and Mocha.
He's
Aaron,
not right.
Aaron,
He's not right to this day.
Who's the chick on 98.1? What was her name? I can't remember. Aaron something. What was her name?
Don and Aaron.
Don and Aaron. Yeah. I can't
Aaron,
remember her. Like even Roger,
Don
Rick,
Daynard
and Marilyn.
something.
Funny
Roger,
thing,
Rick, and Marilyn weren't safe.
All of these people are on Dean Blundell's podcast network now.
Doing the
that's
same
I'm gonna
show.
get them all as guests.
Is that I was so fucking like intense about because and I
Aaron
remember
Davis,
thinking to
there it
myself,
is.
if the Aaron Davis, that's her name. If thank you very much to Glassy for getting that to us. It's a distinct competitive advantage when someone calls the radio station and goes, "Hey, you wouldn't believe what Blundell was just saying about you." They freeze. They play more music. The ratings go down. It was awesome. We had a 40 share for like 15 years. It was fucking insane. And which was great until I left that place and had to go and work at a place where all those people were. And and I remember walking into the Fan, which was owned by Rogers, during the big unveiling and stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like Aaron Davis is there, Roz and Mocha are there, like everybody. That I skewered and treated like shit for like,
Dean at the
and just
water
and only
cooler.
because I was competitive. Like that was the only reason. I had no ill will towards him, other than the fact that in my mind, because I was a radio guy and I was so uber competitive. I feel this way about the stuff we do now, but not as much of an asshole about it. But I was so fucking uber competitive that I used to literally think they want something that belongs to me, so I'm going to make sure that they don't get it. That's what I thought. And in this game, I'm like. Exactly, but I've had to change my mind. Like now it's like, I need to call that person because he has a podcast I want, but I used to also call him a useless tit on the radio for like several years. How do I broach that subject? Because you actually have to go back and I had to go, like I've literally gone to Jay Michaels, who's on the radio at 1010 with my buddy Ryan, and I've literally had to say, dude, I need to apologize to you for all the shit I said about you and everything you did. Here's why I did it, and I feel fucking terrible. Like terrible.
It probably went a long way though, Dean. Like that.
It was awesome. Yeah.
Did he accept it? Like he was
all
like,
those years.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah, he did. He did. He's great. We text each other from time to time now. Like, but I had to eat some shit.
That's
right.
cool.
Like those things are great. Like, and so when you watch guys like Jerry and Jake, and they're getting after it with Mike and stuff, at some point they're probably going to meet because we work with all of them. And I'm like, you guys probably fucking like each other. Like they probably would.
They would.
That's
the irony of it.
They would
They're the
fucking
same
have a
people.
blast together. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I had we did a bit on the show, like an ongoing, just a sort of throwaway bit. There's a local guy, and he's a legend in town, Terry Evans, and he's on a competing radio station on K-Rock or K97. Fuck, I don't know what they call it. Doesn't matter. But they have billboards, and their billboards are awful. And a couple years ago, they had a billboard campaign where it was in the middle of the mayor's race. So he put billboards up that he was going to run for the mayor of Rock and Roll City. And so I must have, for about 2 months, every day we talked about the mayor of Rock and Roll City, and I would just slip it in. Occasionally. Those billboards came down pretty quick.
Shocking. Yeah, it's amazing the power you have. And you know what the crazy part is? Like I've really tried very, very hard to mute that part of myself. I still fucking love it. Like
I've told you, you've got to keep a hint of it. I'm not wrong. Listen to Dr. Locke. You got to keep a little bit of dick uncovered.
Like my kid texts me the other day from school. This is his text. And so now this has created a major thing. Text me. He's like, hey, Dad, there might be an issue. My religion teacher said kids that died in residential schools were already sick as dogs when they got there. Isn't that nice?
That's
2
kinda
days.
sad.
2 days before National Reconciliation Day, by the way.
Yeah,
2
good
days.
timing. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Hey, Dad, this is what he said. Dad, there might be an issue. He's 15. His religion teacher is 65 or 60 or something. My religion teacher said the kids that died in residential schools were already sick as dogs when they got there. I'm like, wow, that's fucked.
So that's why they
it-
just dug a hole in the backyard and threw them in.
Yep.
I guess so.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
no good reason. And so I sent that to, I tweeted it and it went nuts. And then I phoned the school and I said, hey, can you just explain the curriculum to me? I don't know that should be taught, right? Just a normal fucking question. I'm not the guy that phones the school and it's like, I'm coming down there in 20 minutes and you better be ready because I'm a big swinging dick in the cracker factory, okay? No, I'm not that guy. So I said, can you, and she's like, yeah, we're going to look into it and get back to you. So I get a phone call this morning. This is from Catholic school. My kid goes to a Catholic high school. And she's like,
They were very
"Hi,
apologetic, right? And they wanted to make amends and clear up any issues you might have about what's going on with your kid and his education.
Yeah, how'd you know? I'll tell you exactly what
historic
happened. Thank you
events.
for asking. Thank you for asking. Yes. So she phones and she's like, and I'm going to paraphrase and take a little liberty, but not much. She's like, hello, Mr. Blundell. How are you today? And I'm like, hello? She's like, this is so-and-so from the school. I am calling to address the concerns you had about the teacher. There is currently an investigation underway with the teacher, and we are looking into it, and we do not condone those types of words. So we are going to look into it, and due to that, I cannot speak to this matter anymore. And I said, what? Like, first of all, are you reading that? She's like, I can't talk about that either.
Wow. Wow.
And then she goes, I said, okay, so listen, I don't want an investigation. That's not what I wanted. I just want to talk about the curriculum because this isn't cool. Like, you can't be teaching that shit if that's being taught in the class. I said, what I'd really love is for you to leave the teacher alone and tell him to stop telling the kids that. But, like, I really want to know if that's in the book that you're supposed to be teaching all these kids. Like, it's the day before Truth and Reconciliation, I said to her. And what you're telling me is that you're teaching kids that the church that runs your school says that all those kids that were, saluting, that were honoring, that were killed in a genocide in this country, you're telling me that teacher's saying all those kids were sick as dogs, so it's no big deal? And she's like, I said, is that what the position of the church? Like, I just want to know if that's being taught. Dead silence. She goes, you can look up the curriculum online. Thank you. Boom. Hangs up the phone.
You know what's crazy about this story for me? And I read all your stuff on deanblundell.com about this.
Yeah.
Actually, I read it last night. The thing that bothers me the most about this is that there's this lack of accountability from a massive organization. And we all know that it's there. Like, I was just joking about it. And we all know that that you're not going to get an apology. You all know that it's not going to change. But how hard would it be for them to have the principal call you and go, okay, listen, this is this guy's opinion.
Yeah.
We don't agree with it, but this is what his opinion is.
Yeah.
And I'll deal with that after the fact. Rather than try to hide behind what was she even trying to hide behind? That's the thing that bothers me the most about it. It's like, why can't we just be honest here? Let me be honest with you. If I was teaching any class on any subject, I would fuck with the curriculum. I would teach it the way I wanted to teach it. Those kids would be learning, and they'd grow up way better off than actually learning the truth. Right? Yeah. Like, we're all going to inject a certain amount of our personality and what we believe into what we're passing along. My kids are fucked if they ever try to fucking pass on any wisdom that they learned in this house, right? Because it's all just shit. I wonder what that conversation
would be like. It would be like, what did your dad teach you? Like, I can't wait for your first daughter's wedding, getting married next year, to talk about all the things her dad taught her.
I've already been told I'm not allowed to speak at the wedding. And I'm like, I'm a fucking radio personality. I want a live mic through the whole thing.
On the headset, the live mic, and stuff.
As you should.
You know what? The
This
funny
father's
part for
speech
me.
brought to you by the Locker Room. Merchandise available online.
Oh yeah, no, I'll be selling hats.
What were you saying, Brent? Go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah, Bondzee should do a podcast from there.
Yeah,
right there.
Bondzee, do a podcast for my daughter's wedding, please.
I would love to.
I think the weird part, because Truth and Reconciliation Day is tomorrow, right? And we were talking to Jon Kay about it briefly in the show, is the virtue signaling, like the people, like the businesses that are like, this business is on First Nations land, and we recognize that, and they put a big plaque out right next to the thing. It says, right now, 2-for-1 mochachinos, like that kind of stuff, where you're like, this doesn't do it for me. But we're 2 days away, and I'm watching everybody virtue signal literally off the back of my tweet, right? Which was, hey, Catholic School Board, can you help me figure this out? Because this is not good. Like you can't have a religion teacher in your class, a few months after we discover tens of thousands of dead children in the back of church parking lots that have just been thrown there by the priests that sexually abused and murdered them, and nuns. And we all know about it, and we're having an entire fucking day, like an entire day tomorrow is dedicated to the truth, right? And reconciliation for what happened. It's not just a fancy fucking saying.
Fan
It's
City has a good
truth
point
about what happened and some reconciliation. Van City says, if they ain't apologizing to the natives, they ain't apologizing to Dean.
That's
so true.
But it's funny how right now everything's coming out like as we get closer. And I think the biggest thing that brought the divide out, which is a blessing and a curse at the same time, is the fact that the feds said it was a thing, and the provinces all, like Ontario's not recognizing it, Alberta's not recognizing it. Like there was today, the last thing I retweeted on Twitter was a kid in Sault Ste. Marie whose teacher, he's a native kid, and the teacher was telling him, if you he wouldn't stand for the national anthem. And the teacher told him, standing for the national anthem will help get your land back. Like that's from the teacher to the student, and the kid videotaped
Hot
it.
move.
And I don't think the
Hot
teacher
move.
saw it. Yeah. So
If you
we're gonna
stand, we'll give you back Manitoba.
Yeah, we're gonna see this in the next couple of weeks, I think, now with it, and this is where the reconciliation needs to start. It's gonna start hard. It's gonna be like ripping a Band-Aid
it was
off.
funny
And
because I didn't my kid goes to Catholic high school. To your point, Ryan, my kid goes to Catholic high school, and I was like, and after all this stuff happened, I'm like, well, good. At least they know what's going on. He goes in, he recognizes at 15, yeah, that's bullshit, and they're still teaching it. It was like the Catholic Church watched that whole thing happen, and the school board that my kid goes in Catholic school, all the school board watched the whole thing happen and went like this. No need to update the textbooks. Like, fuck.
Yeah.
Really?
Don't even
They don't need
issue
to
a
update the
memo or
textbooks.
anything.
Yeah. Change
Well,
the
they
curriculum just a
don't-
smidge.
It's because it's money related, right? Like that's.
Yeah.
I mean, follow the money. Whenever you have a trouble making sense of something, or when things don't add up for you, just follow the money, because as soon as somebody says, "Yeah, sorry,"
well, it
they're
happened
worried.
this week. It happened this week. The archbishops, the diocese actually issued an official
30 mil.
issued an official apology and a statement in advance of there's a big trip going to the Vatican, and they actually said, we're sorry, and we're going to give you the records that you need to identify people. Like
today we're supposed to have them, right? Yeah.
What they're looking to
Deadlines
get towards.
today.
And so you'd think from the big chair that would have trickled maybe into the fucking education system. Hey guys, stop pretending this didn't happen. Let's start pretending it fucking happened. You know what I mean? Like, let's start saying it happened. But no, it's these guys. Some of these teachers, they take their own, especially religion. That's so subjective. They're going to take their own narrative and they're going to drill it into these kids. And we've been dealing with this for centuries. So
yeah,
what do we do?
Dude, like that's all we were taught when I grew up. It was like social studies, grade 3. They're like the white man came to Canada and the Indians were so happy to see them, to get all their medicine and get all their blankets and be finally warm because they were so cold, and they celebrated with a turkey dinner.
Yep.
And then they produced Chris Sky.
And they produce Chris Scott, who is vaccinated, by the way.
And
That's
looks
what I got
like
out
a
of this.
turkey,
That's
which
wild.
is
He
an
does.
odd wraparound on this whole discussion. But
Way to wrap it
Did
up.
you see
Locke.
this?
That's nice.
Did you see this? Did you see this, boys? Way to go, Locke. Chris Sky vaccinated there, Bondzee. There you go. Thank God you are
Yeah, I
too.
saw that. Unreal. I am too. And feeling
Yeah.
much better, by the way. Thanks for asking.
Are you?
And
Yeah,
he's-
you're not paralyzed
yeah.
anymore. You're feeling good.
3 days, 3 days, pretty much. I wouldn't say pain-free, but dude, it's night and day difference. I'm going to the gym today. First time. I got to get back into it. I'm feeling that good. And I'm golfing tomorrow. So I'm pretty stoked. That's how
Awesome, dude.
we're come a long way in the past 3-4 days.
Fuck yeah.
For sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
pretty
good. I'm
stoked.
glad you came around. I'm glad you're feeling better. Most of all, I don't even give a fuck what it was. We joke around about the vaccine, but I'm just glad you're better.
Thank you.
And podcast tonight is all these guys, and then we'll see you later.
yeah, what time are we joining? What time are we
9
jumping on tonight,
9 o'clock,
Bondzee?
boys. I'll send you the link.
Send us all the link. Oh, Dean, seriously, let's all
that'd be
just
the
jump
greatest.
in. Let's
yeah,
do it.
we will. We're gonna tonight. No, I'm busy. I won't even be here. But listen, watch Bondzee's podcast. It's brilliant. He does a wonderful job. And you can get it on YouTube. Tripping with Bondzee, I believe, is the thing,
Yep.
right? And then at Bondzee Live on Twitter. Brenton on tour. Great to see you. I'll see you in 2 seconds because you're literally 5 feet away from me in my house. Lachlan, and
Hey,
by the way,
Brent,
season 2
Brent.
started up. Kids on the Escalator. By the way, Brent.
That's happening Monday at Chris Machete's house. Actually, we got Lachlan
Hell
on.
yeah.
He doesn't know it yet, but
Am I on? Hey, by the way,
he's going to talk
Brent.
about how much he wants to beat up nerds and stuff. Yeah, go ahead.
Brent, bear trap. Take a shit in his toilet and don't flush it. Just
Well, I've already been in there twice. What you're assuming I haven't
Upper
already done that.
decker. Upper decker.
You're
Give
assuming
him an upper
that
decker.
hasn't happened already. Anyways, that's all good. Yeah, Kids on the Escalator podcast season 2 starts Monday nights. I'll be live with Chris. There's another live podcast happening there. And Brenton on tour was supposed to release tonight, but as mentioned before, I'm just going to repurpose this one later on. So.
All right. It's called the Bondzee process, actually. The
Go, Jays,
Bondzee
go.
process. Go,
Yeah.
Jays, go. Jays tonight. Yeah, I'm excited for that. And Ryan Lindley, the host of the Sheeple Shepherd podcast, which you get at deanblundell.com. Do you have a new one coming out soon? Got one?
Yeah, we actually, the wife is finally wrapping up the 4-part series on taking down that
Yeah,
company
she
that
is.
was making people eat dirt. And yeah, it's a pretty good one. We actually have a post coming out on deanblundell.com probably
About the whole
tonight
thing.
or tomorrow morning about the whole thing to give you a bit of a synopsis and it's a little bit of a
Dude,
teaser to actually
Tell
go and
everybody
watch
about
the-
it. Give everybody a little teaser, though. Like, there's this company that's selling
okay,
dirt
so
to, like,
so there's
crazy, like, QAnon people, and they're like, yeah, $100 for a couple
it's
dirt
not even
tablets for sure.
QAnon. It's not even just QAnon though. It's literally
Yeah.
people that are just vulnerable. It's dirt. It's It's literal dirt coming from a bog here in Ontario.
Okay.
It's getting processed into little tablets, and people are putting it in water. They're drinking it. They're brushing their
Best.
teeth with it. They're rubbing it on their skin. They're putting it in feeding tubes of fucking children. Read about it tonight when it comes out. I swear
Jesus,
to God,
I
read
can't get
about
people
it.
to buy fucking T-shirts, and these
know.
assholes are selling dirt.
They're selling dirt pellets.
Fuck.
But get this, $110 for a fucking package of these pellets when it's literally, you can go to the Home Depot. They got it on clearance today for fucking peat moss. It's the same thing for like 89 cents a bag. So
Yeah, so he's going to help people
People
get
get
a
wrong with
deal
it.
on dirt.
I don't want to make
gonna help
everything about
people.
me, but
No,
what's
my
wrong
wife-
with me?
my wife really, she's a part of a network of anti-MLM people. She's very fucking anti-MLM. And this
Oh.
is an MLM. And Locke, this is where you're going to enjoy this.
I hate the MLMs.
I know. So yeah,
Amway.
and this is the latest one. There's another one that they've taken this one down. Health Canada's issued an official recall. You're not allowed to sell it here in the country now because of the work that they've done. So you
But
can read all
people
about
did.
it on the on deanblundell.com and check out the Sheeple Shepherd podcast because it's going to be there too.
We had some people so mad at us because I went off on MLMs a couple of weeks ago, and then this whole group from Sensi or something, they sell candles.
doTERRA. And Sensi. Yeah, I remember. I
Yeah.
heard you guys were
Yeah,
getting on Jimmy
yeah.
about
And
it.
they came after me like crazy. Like I had like my Facebook and a bunch of emails, and then I invited them all on, and not one taker. I'm like, well, hey,
No.
listen, if I'm wrong about your fucking product and how you
Yeah,
sell
no,
this shit, come on, and then
That's
convince
exactly-
everybody. No one would
exactly what she's done, and they've got fake profiles to infiltrate their little private groups.
Yeah.
She was at one of their Zoom meetings of the actual fucking the business while they were all crying about the Health Canada recall, going, "What the fuck are we gonna do?" They actually watched it. They sat and watched the guy fucking freaking out.
She record it?
Yeah, she's got clips of that. We'll put
that's
clips
awesome.
up
This
on
is so good, Ryan. This is good.
Exciting.
Yeah,
you'll love it. It's a great podcast, Sheeple Shepherd podcast, as is the Brenton on Tour podcast. Kids
She'll
on the
be here on
Escalator and
Friday,
Bondzee
too.
Live.
She'll be here to talk to you guys on Friday. Yeah.
By the way,
shocked at how I got to tell you, no offense, you're a good-looking dude. Shocked at how attractive she is.
Yep, she's
because you're not that good-looking.
Don't fuck that up.
No,
By the way, I have
hang on to
a new hat for sale on
I
my
saw
merch
it.
page.
I saw
Best
it.
summer ever. We've sold
You don't
one.
think I already ordered one?
Okay. It was you then, right?
I love how we ended the show that Ryan's wife is going to be on Dean's podcast on Friday after she was on my show.
Oh, she did. She did.
Nice.
That's true.
Throwing bombs.
Who's following who now, fucker?
She'll end up putting makeup on for
head.
Dean, though.
Dude, you'll be bald.
She put makeup on for Dean.
Bondzee, good one. You got me.
Thank you.
That's a really good one. Love you, baby. Love you guys. Thanks everybody for being here. Lachlan
Love you
Cross.
boys. Guys.
That is Brenton on Tour. That is
Take care.
Bonzarelli. Take care, Ryan Lindley. That is kind of a half compliment, almost like a full compliment. Pretty much everybody that hangs out with us, which is nice. It's nice to have friends, isn't it? It's nice to work with your friends, have a conversation, middle of the day, get paid for it. Not really, but one day, guy can dream. Have a great day, everybody. Appreciate it. Thanks for joining us. Thanks for being part of the show. And thanks to our sponsors and partners, domination.com, dmntn.com. It's artificial intelligence for people that produce content, and it's free to try, and it'll change your life. So go to dmntn.com. Podcasters, gamers, streamers, what have you, whatever you need, go to dmntn.com and check them out today. And you will, oh yes, you will produce content in a matter of minutes instead of hours. Seriously, like 72 pieces. Hi to our friends over at edsfineimports.com. Ed's Fine Imports sells the best underwear on the planet. They're known as Gitch, ladies and gentlemen. If you want Ed's Gitch, you can buy Ed's Gitch. There's Ed's Gitch. And what you do is you go to www. It's on the World Wide Web. That's why you get the 3 W's. Just figured that one out. But you go to www.edsfineimports.com and use promo code GITCH3 when you check out after purchasing 3 pairs of luxury branded boxer briefs with the pouch in the front for your junk. Keep it all separate. And he'll send you the 4th for free with promo code GITCH and then the number 3. Shop for clothes there too. You can do it online. It's incredible. He's got clothes for men and boys. Hard to buy for a kid. Guy, you want to get your little fella like a suit? He's got that. Pants, shirt, tie, cute little kid tie. You love that little kid tie on your kid. Hey, walk around, pretend he's like a business kid. Everybody's like, "Oh, that's cute. You just dress your kid up in a suit," and you could be all like this. You could be like, "Yeah, he's actually 49, and he's just tiny, right? Or not." But you can go to edsfineimports.com today. Check them out. Buy his Gitch. And thanks to our friends at Blue Microphones, the official partner and sponsor of podcast equipment. If you're a gamer, streamer, what have you, go to bluemic.com. And you can also go to Blue Microphones on Twitter. Check them out. They've got a great influencer social network, big in World of Warcraft too. So if you're a streamer, gamer, check out some of their branded stuff. It's absolutely incredible. If you go to bluemic.com, our partner and yours as well. Am I forgetting anybody, Brent? Brenton on Tour, who's here. No, you don't sponsor it. Well, you're a good dude, though, but you don't sponsor it. Oh, easyautofinancial.ca. The best. These guys are my friends. Easyautofinancial.ca. Check them out today. They get you cars and get you financing for cars for free. They don't get the car for free. The financing's free. You can pay for the car, obviously. But if you can't get financing, these are your people. Easyautofinancial.ca. Check them out today. They'll set you up with a car and a dealer that has your car, and we appreciate you and them. Have a great day. See you soon. We'll be back tomorrow right here